We should have listened. That's what everyone says now, of course. Hindsight makes prophets of us all. But when the Arcturians first made contact with Earth, their soft, melodic voices carrying across the vast emptiness of space, with promises of cooperation and knowledge. Humanity did what humanity has always done when faced with the unknown. We hesitated. I was just a communications officer on the International Lunar Base when the first transmission came through. I remember the eerie silence that fell over the control room as those alien syllables transformed into English before our eyes. "We come in peace," they said. How many science fiction movies had used that line? Too many for us to believe it. The governments of Earth established a committee, as governments do. Experts debated, military leaders strategized, and politicians postured. While they deliberated, the Arcturian ships hung in our orbit, waiting for a response that never came. Days turned to weeks. Weeks to months. Our silence wasn't hostile. It was cautious, we told ourselves. Prudent. The right move when faced with a technologically superior species whose true intentions couldn't be verified. What we didn't understand was that in the greater galactic community, silence has meaning. Communication is currency, and our refusal to engage was being watched by more than just the Arcturians. I still remember the night everything changed. I was alone in the communications bay, monitoring the usual channels, when the emergency alert blared. New signals, dozens of them, approaching from beyond the edge of our solar system. Not Arcturian in origin, something else entirely. The footage from our deep space telescopes showed them. Angular ships, black as the void, moving with deliberate purpose toward Earth. The Arcturians broke their patient silence then, their message urgent and clear. They have deemed you unworthy. We cannot protect those who reject communion. That's when we learned the truth. The Arcturians hadn't just been making first contact. They'd been auditioning us, determining if humanity deserved a place in the cosmic conversation. And by choosing silence, we had failed the test. The president ordered an immediate response, desperate words of friendship and cooperation sent hurtling toward the Arcturian fleet. Too little, too late. They were already retreating, their elegant vessels pulling away from Earth as the new arrivals closed in. I don't blame the decision-makers. How could they have known? We were like children taking our first steps into a room full of ancient beings, unaware of customs and protocols established millennia before our ancestors discovered fire. Now I'm part of the last-ditch diplomatic team sent to intercept the Arcturians before they leave our system completely. Our ship is small, our chances slim. Outside the viewport, Earth grows smaller by the hour, a blue marble that never looked so fragile. The approaching fleet will reach Earth in 3 days. We have until then to convince the Arcturians to return, to speak for us in whatever galactic court has apparently judged humanity and found us wanting. And if we fail, well, the universe has made one thing abundantly clear. In the grand conversation of intelligent species, there are worse things than being misunderstood. There are consequences for not speaking at all. The ship's engines hum beneath my feet as I stare at the holographic display of our solar system. The red dots representing the unknown fleet grow closer to Earth with each passing hour. Behind me, the crew works in tense silence, fear hanging in the recycled air like a physical presence. Officer Chen, "We've got something," calls out our pilot. I move to her station, where a faint signal pulses on her screen. It's Arcturian. My heart races. During those months of silence, I'd studied their language patterns obsessively. Not officially. The higher-ups had forbidden unauthorized analysis, for security reasons, but curiosity had always been my downfall. "Can you amplify it?" I ask. She works the controls, and suddenly the cabin fills with those haunting, musical tones I'd first heard on the lunar base. I close my eyes, letting the translation software do its work. "The judgment comes not from us," the message says. "We were merely guides. The Watchers have always been there." The Watchers. I'd seen that term once, buried in the later Arcturian transmissions our governments had chosen to ignore. references to ancient observers who had cataloged civilizations across multiple galaxies for millions of years. Commander, I call out to our mission leader. We need to change course. The Arcturians are heading toward Saturn's rings. Commander Rivera, a veteran of 3 wars that never should have happened, studies me with tired eyes. How could you possibly know that? She asks. I hesitate. Admitting I'd broken protocol by studying forbidden communications could end my career. But careers won't matter if Earth falls. Because I listened, I finally say, when no one else would. 12 hours later, our small vessel approaches the shadow side of Saturn. The gas giant's magnificent rings sprawl before us. And there, nestled within the ice and rock fragments, waits the Arcturian mothership, organic in design, almost like a massive sea creature swimming through space. Open a channel, orders the commander. I take a deep breath. This is Earth vessel Prometheus requesting audience with the Arcturian delegation. We come seeking understanding. The response is immediate. A beam of light engulfs our ship, and the familiar sensation of gravity disappears. We're being pulled toward their vessel. Everyone stay calm, the commander orders, though her white-knuckled grip on her seat betrays her own anxiety. Inside the Arcturian ship, the atmosphere feels dense, almost liquid in quality. We can breathe, but each movement requires effort. 3 Arcturians approach. Tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin that seems to shift colors with their emotions. Their eyes, 4 on each face, blink in unsettling asynchrony. You speak now, one says, its voice not in our ears but somehow forming directly in our minds, when silence has already spoken for your kind. The commander steps forward. We made a mistake. We didn't understand. Understanding was not required, interrupts another Arcturian. Only response. The Watchers measure worth through communication. Those who refuse dialogue are deemed dangerous. Dangerous. I interject. We were cautious, not threatening. The tallest Arcturian turns its gaze on me, and suddenly I feel as though I'm drowning in ancient knowledge. In the history of this galaxy, it says, every civilization that chose isolation over communication eventually became destroyer of worlds. A holographic image appears between us, Earth, surrounded by the approaching fleet of dark ships. But now I can see their true scale. Each vessel is the size of a small moon. The Watchers do not punish, the Arcturian continues. They quarantine. And suddenly I understand the true horror of what's coming. Quarantine. Commander Rivera's voice echoes in the strange chamber. You mean isolation. Cutting us off from the rest of the galaxy. The Arcturian skin shifts to a deep cobalt blue. The process has already begun. The Watchers' vessels carry technology beyond even our understanding. They will establish a barrier around your solar system. Nothing in, nothing out. My mind races with the implications. Humanity, forever trapped within our own cosmic neighborhood, never to join the greater galactic community. Our descendants looking up at stars they can never reach. For how long? I ask, my voice barely a whisper. Until you evolve or expire, says the Arcturian. Some quarantines have lasted millions of your years. Some end only when the species in question has destroyed itself. The commander steps forward. There must be a way to appeal this decision. Some protocol. The time for protocol was when we extended our greeting. The Arcturian interrupts. Your silence was your choice. Back on our ship, tension crackles like static electricity. The commander has locked herself in the communications bay, frantically sending updates to Earth. The rest of the crew sits in stunned silence, processing the weight of what we've learned. Lai, our xenobiologist, finally breaks the quiet. Something doesn't add up. Why would advanced beings like the Watchers care so much about a simple delayed response? There must be more to it. He's right. The punishment seems wildly disproportionate to our crime. While the others debate, I slip away to my quarters and pull up my unauthorized notes on Arcturian communication patterns. I've noticed something in their speech, subtle shifts in tone when they mention the Watchers. almost like fear. The realization hits me like a physical blow. The Arcturians aren't ambassadors for the Watchers. They're prisoners too. Meanwhile, on Earth, chaos reigns. The approaching fleet is now visible from ground-based telescopes. Images flood the news networks, massive shadow shapes blotting out star fields as they move into position around our planet. In Beijing, Dr. Huang Mai studies these images with growing confusion. As head of Earth's Sinological Defense Initiative, she spent decades preparing for first contact scenarios, including hostile ones. But something about these ships doesn't match any of their attack simulations. They're not positioning for strikes. She tells the Emergency United Nations Council. They're forming a grid pattern, equal distance from each other, covering all approach vectors to Earth. What does that mean? Demands the Secretary General. Dr. Huang points to her simulation. It means they're not here to destroy us. They're here to build something around us. Across the world, amateur astronomers report strange energy readings. The space between the alien vessels seems to shimmer, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Something invisible is taking form. Back on the Prometheus, I finally get a private audience with the Arcturian leader. Without the others present, its demeanor changes subtly. "You are the one who listened," it says, "even when forbidden." I nod. "And I think you're hiding something. The Watchers aren't protectors of galactic harmony, are they? What are they really?" The Arcturian skin pales to an almost translucent white. "We have said all we can." "No, there's more." I step closer. "You're afraid of them. Your people didn't come to Earth out of benevolence. You came to warn us." For a long moment, the alien regards me with its 4 eyes. Then, it extends a slender limb and touches my forehead. Instantly, my mind fills with images, planets encased in shimmering barriers, civilizations rising and falling within their cosmic prisons, and the Watchers, ancient beyond comprehension, harvesting something from these quarantined worlds. Energy. They're farming energy. The Arcturian pulls away. "The quarantine is not punishment," it whispers. "It is cultivation." As the full horror of our situation becomes clear, an alarm blares throughout the ship. I rush to the bridge just as our sensors detect a new development. The barrier around Earth is nearly complete, but something unexpected is happening. Earth is fighting back. On every continent, mysterious ancient structures, long thought to be merely archaeological curiosities, have begun to glow with forgotten power. Whatever the Watchers expected from humanity, they didn't expect this. The Arcturian leader appears beside me, its skin now pulsing with streaks of gold. "Impossible," it breathes. "Your world was seeded too." Before I can ask what that means, our ship's proximity alerts scream to life. One of the Watcher vessels has broken formation and is heading directly for us. "We've been noticed." Evasive maneuvers. Commander Rivera shouts as the Watcher vessel bears down on us. Our pilot's hands fly across the controls, and the Prometheus lurches sideways, engines screaming with effort. The massive black ship adjusts course with impossible precision. Whatever technology powers it makes our most advanced spacecraft look like children's toys. "It's no use," our pilot says, voice tight with fear. "We can't outrun it." The Arcturian leader moves to the center of our bridge, its skin now pulsing with streaks of crimson and gold. "There is another option," it says. "The rings." Without waiting for orders, our pilot banks hard, sending us plunging toward Saturn's dense field of ice and rock. The Watcher vessel follows, its angular form cutting through space like a blade. "Are you insane?" Rivera snaps at the Arcturian. "We'll be torn apart in there." "Your ship possesses a magnetic shield." The alien responds calmly. "The Watcher vessel does not require such protection. They never anticipated needing it." Understanding dawns on the commander's face. She turns to the pilot. "Do it. Take us in as deep as you can." The Prometheus shudders as we enter the rings, ice particles pelting our shields like machine gun fire. Behind us, the Watcher vessel hesitates at the boundary before following. More slowly now, more cautiously. What did you mean? I ask the Arcturian as we navigate through the treacherous debris field. When you said Earth was seated too. Those four alien eyes regard me for a long moment. Long ago, before my species achieved space travel, our world was visited. Ancient structures were left behind, dormant until needed. When the Watchers first came to our system, those structures activated, but too late. We did not understand their purpose in time. On the view screen, Earth appears as a tiny blue dot, now surrounded by a faint, shimmering haze, the quarantine barrier taking form. Those structures on your world, the Arcturian continues. They are weapons, created by those who fought the Watchers and lost, scattered across the galaxy as seeds of resistance. On Earth, Dr. Huang stands in the shadow of the Great Pyramid at Giza, now thrumming with energy that makes the air taste like metal. Similar reports come in from Stonehenge, from Easter Island, from submerged structures off the coast of Japan, all awakening after millennia of silence. Military forces surround each site, but nobody dares approach too closely. The ground itself seems to pulse beneath their feet. Dr. Huang's tablet chimes with an incoming transmission, a young lieutenant from the Chinese space program. Doctor, we've detected unusual activity from the lunar base. The entire Mare Tranquillitatis has opened. The video feed shows the lunar surface split like an eggshell, revealing a vast chamber beneath, filled with technology that gleams like new despite having been buried for countless thousands of years. It's happening everywhere, the lieutenant continues, voice trembling. Every moon and rocky planet in our system, even some of the larger asteroids. Dr. Huang stares at the images in awe. We were never alone, she whispers. We've been protected all along. Back in Saturn's rings, our ship has found temporary shelter in the shadow of a massive ice formation. The Watcher vessel circles nearby, probing the debris field with scanning beams. We can't stay here forever, Commander Rivera says. The Arcturian's skin has shifted to a deep purple. No, but perhaps long enough. A notification pings on my console. Commander, the quantum communicator is receiving a signal. From Earth. The message appears on screen. A simple string of coordinates accompanied by Dr. Huang's identification code. The location points to Mars' smaller moon, Deimos. The Arcturian studies the coordinates, its skin brightening. The seed awakens fully. What does that mean for us? For Earth? I ask. It means your species has a chance. The Watcher's quarantine is not yet complete. Commander Rivera leans forward. So what's our play? We need to reach Deimos, the Arcturian says. The structure there controls the defense network. If activated properly, it could disrupt the quarantine barrier. And if activated improperly, I ask. The alien skin darkens. Then your solar system becomes a graveyard. Rivera takes only a moment to decide. Plot a course for Mars. We'll wait until the Watcher ship moves to a new search grid, then make a run for it. As if on cue, the massive black vessel shifts position, turning away from our hiding spot. Now, Rivera orders. Our engines flare to life, pushing us through the ring debris and out into open space. For a brief, hopeful moment, it seems we've escaped unnoticed. Then a shadow falls across our bridge as a second Watcher vessel materializes directly in our path. Impossible. Our pilot gasps. Where did it come from? The Arcturian's skin blanches white with fear. They exist partially outside normal spacetime. They are everywhere and nowhere. A beam of cold light engulfs our ship, freezing our engines, our systems, even the air in our lungs seems to crystallize. On the view screen, both Watcher vessels now converge on us, their obsidian surfaces absorbing every trace of Saturn's reflected light. And then, something unexpected. The Arcturian leader steps into the beam, its body elongating, transforming, revealing a form we hadn't known it possessed. Energy crackles around it as it raises 4 limbs toward the ceiling. "What are you doing?" I manage to gasp. "What my ancestors should have done," it replies, voice now resonating at a frequency that makes my teeth ache. Speaking back. The beam holding our ship wavers as the Arcturian pushes against it, buying us precious seconds. "Go," it commands. "Reach Deimos. Find the control chamber. When you arrive, speak the words that should have been our first response to the Watchers millennia ago." "What words?" Rivera demands. The Arcturian's form begins to disintegrate within the beam, particles of light scattering like dying stars. With its final breath, it shares 3 simple words that somehow translate in all our minds at once. "We are here." The beam collapses. Our ship lurches forward, propelled by a burst of energy from the Arcturian sacrifice. The Watcher vessels seem momentarily disoriented, giving us a slim chance to escape. As we accelerate away from Saturn, a deafening transmission floods every channel. Not from the Watchers, not from Earth, but from somewhere far more distant. A message repeated in thousands of languages, ancient and new. "We heard you. We are coming." And across the galaxy, quarantined worlds begin to answer. The journey to Deimos was a blur of desperate maneuvers and narrow escapes. More Watcher vessels appeared throughout the system, but something was distracting them. The ancient structures on Earth and throughout our solar system were now fully awake, pulsing with energy that seemed to confuse the Watcher's sensors. When we finally reached Mars' smaller moon, it no longer resembled the irregular, cratered rock I'd studied in astronomy textbooks. Its surface had transformed, revealing intricate geometric patterns that glowed with inner light. A doorway waited for us, open like a mouth ready to speak secrets held for millennia. Inside, we found a chamber that defied human architecture, curves and angles that seemed to bend in directions my mind couldn't properly process. At its center stood a simple pedestal with a depression shaped perfectly for a human hand. "This is it," Commander Rivera said quietly. "The control center." I stepped forward, driven by instinct more than reason. I should be the one. I've been listening all along. Rivera nodded, understanding in her eyes. As my palm touched the cold surface, knowledge flooded my consciousness. The history of a conflict spanning billions of years, fought between the Watchers and those they called the Speakers. The Watchers, ancient beyond comprehension, harvested the creative energy of intelligent species, keeping them isolated to feed upon their struggle and growth. The Speakers have fought against this cosmic parasitism, scattering seeds of resistance before they were defeated. Earth hadn't just been seeded with weapons. We humans were the weapons. Our minds, our voices, our stubborn refusal to be silenced. With newfound clarity, I spoke the words the Arcturian had given us. "We are here." The chamber responded, the walls themselves repeating the phrase in every language ever spoken by humanity. The pedestal beneath my hand grew warm, then hot, then vibrating with power that shot upward into space. On our ship's view screen, we watched as beams of light connected each awakened structure throughout our system, forming a vast web that pushed against the Watcher's quarantine barrier. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The barrier held. Then came the response from across the galaxy, thousands of formerly quarantined worlds, speaking back after eons of enforced silence. Their combined voices formed a wave of energy that shattered the Watcher's barrier like glass. The massive black ships recoiled, attempting to regroup, but they were met by a new arrival. Vessels of light, flowing like liquid stars into our system. The Speakers had returned, awakened by the chorus of voices breaking free of their prisons. What followed wasn't a battle, it was a conversation. The Speakers didn't destroy the Watchers. They surrounded them, enveloped them, and began to communicate in a language made of pure energy. We couldn't understand it, but we could feel its intent. Reconciliation, not revenge. 3 months later, I stand on a hillside overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The sky above is different now. shimmering with the presence of visitors from thousands of worlds once quarantined like ours. Earth has become a nexus point, a gathering place for species learning to speak again after millennia of enforced silence. Dr. Huang joins me, tablet in hand displaying the latest data from our new allies. The galactic community has invited us to send representatives, she says. They're calling it the Council of Voices. Who will we send? I ask. She smiles. Those who know how to listen before they speak, and those who understand the power of breaking silence. In the distance, an Arcturian ship descends toward the international welcoming grounds established in New Zealand. They were not our enemies but fellow survivors. Their leader had sacrificed everything to give us the chance their own civilization never had, to speak back before it was too late. I think often of the moment that changed everything, when humanity finally found its voice in the cosmic conversation. The Watchers had been right about one thing. Silence was dangerous, not because it made us threats, but because it kept us from becoming what we were meant to be. The universe, we now know, is not a void. It's a conversation, one that's been going on for billions of years, and humanity has finally joined in.